going to do them down the line, watching the person who's performing, however you can, without moving your feet. And then we'll do our own little phrase all together once it's moved down the line. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Begin. The end. Okay, now I'm ready to, to hear responses. Let's start with relationship to text. What text did you see? What text did you hear? Relationship with movement. Yeah.
In the beginning part, before you started speaking from the book, it felt to me as if it was a book you didn't quite yet understand, but that you were like returning to in order to better understand.
You all are welcome to sit or get water. Yeah. Thank you. Other thoughts on text?
The book you read from, the words were like kind of not even like big, but like just the way it's written is very like heady.
Yeah.
And I found myself getting distracted from the movement and trying to look at you to understand what the words you were saying meant.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that and say I felt like you understood exactly what you were saying, and so like whether the words I understood them or not didn't matter to me because I was enjoying watching your understanding of them. And then I also became curious around like these words and when they land. You know, like I think it may not be a if they happen or not. The question becomes a when they happen or not for me. I like it.
I don't know what order you're doing it. I think it sounded really well. And maybe it is because we've been working on this and worked together before, where I kind of have a maybe deep understanding of what you're trying to do, but I think it also takes someone that hasn't seen it before that does that. It was really interesting too to see to kind of come to understand what was happening while you were talking. Like I didn't realize that it wasn't until it happened over time that I was like, oh, there are different qualities of movement or like things on the floor that are telling people what to do, and then you like watch one person go back to or different people go back to the same thing, like, which I thought was a really nice, satisfying realization.
I love the times when you were dancing with the book, especially in the beginning. There was this one part where like I don't remember exactly what it is that you did, but it almost felt like the book was going to drop, and then you like somehow used the momentum in some way. And I thought that that was really beautiful before you started reading the book, so that we connected with the book beforehand. The other thing I was kind of wondering about was the pieces of paper on the ground. I saw just walking into the studio that they have writing on them, but I was curious more like what your intention was with that, whether it was for the dancers and then the audience to just see the dancers, or for the audience to also connect with the qualities that those dancers are reacting to.
Yeah, that makes me think about like, the challenge I had in that moment was like, I wasn't sure if I was interested in seeing people reading the word. And then it also made me wonder, like, can we be in on the word?
Yeah.
And then like, I'm thinking about the screen and these words like flashing across the screen, or how do you bring us into these words a little bit more?
At the same time, though, I think there's a fun in trying to figure out what the word is. Yeah, I found myself like trying to distinguish between when each word landed on my paper.
I think one way you could introduce that is like having like a mind map, like a map projection of like, so like it reflect. So say they're confused, you could look at the projection and be like, oh, and you see how it translates with every different person. Because everyone interprets maps a certain way.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask one more question. What do you remember?
I did it away when you were reading the question. First of all, I started it in recipes, but I want to just point out like the quantity of content that you had in like 2 weeks.
Oh, thank you.
That's why I was like, oh, that should be
Thank
done.
you, yes, really.
So I, totally immigrant. And then that word came up to me because I remembered or remembering, because I was struck in the line that it felt like there was more of a sense, like when they were lined up and doing these movements, there was kind of a sense of like there was some sort of emotional aspect not happening, or there was some sort of investment in the movement, whereas I guess what I'm trying to say is in the first section where these are kind of breaking into these kind of gestures of movement, I was wondering about is this like the act of remembering feels different in the body than like almost what it looks like is like some sort of like weird impulse, not weird, but like a sort of like, you know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of a disconnect in some sort of way that these movements might mean something.
Is this, we're standing in a line, or this is the first?
The first section. Like the second section, I felt like there was a kind of connection to the movement that felt really kind of raw, and like there was some content there from the past or something. Or like there was some sort of, does that make sense?
Yes.
And in the first part, it felt a little bit more gestural and like an impulse. And so when you brought up this question, that was my leading question, was like, what does remembering look like in the body? Right, if you're talking about gestures that are sort of living on, or movements that are living on in the body in an archive.
I think this is the end of the second section before we go up to the line. And we were all sort of doing their own individual scores. And I think most of you were staying at the end. But Birch was laying down and he had his leg up, and I was like, oh, I guess we're ending here. Like, oh yeah, maybe I remember this. Yeah, this is on purpose. I get used to this. But it was in a very like compelling way.
sound of the book and its movement was really something I remember. And the idea, I think it's a little bit on the lines of what Kari was saying, but like, that there's a lot of material for, like, yesterday to today. So it made me think of the word saturation and how I see right now you're playing with layering, and I want to just encourage you to, for now, oversaturate, keep layering, because you can always remove layers. But I think that's a nice evolution of this work from where it was before.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I was the last thing I was gonna say that I remember the recounting, and I wonder if you can do that.
Thank you.
Yay, Leafy.
Nice job, Steve.
Fabulous. Brian.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Stay.
Y'all know the
This is amazing. I have to.
everybody please come on the stage, scatter yourselves about. Y'all.
And the piece has begun.
On a time crunch, guys.
We're coming on the stage.
Yes.
Oh,
I know.
I was like, you got a big piece, Brian. What's up? Where all these people are like,
Yes, I don't know when I Yes. So my piece is actually happening in the bunker. This piece is about like home, but we're kind of sorting through it. Like, does that mean like a place you feel comfortable, a place you feel like the greatest sense of yourself? Like, what the specificities of that are like very different. Like for at home, it can be very diverse. So we're all my dancers and I are coming in with our own different senses of home and mapping that into the space, and then mapping on other people, my interviewees from like the German and Parisian ballroom scenes, senses of home, to create like a wider, more investigation of that. So that's the context. So there's like, in theory, you can walk around this entire space and we'll just be like going through. We like laid out tape and stuff on the ground. But yeah, don't.
Do you have any questions for us or things that you're specifically seeking feedback on?
What are the things that you recognize or like resonate with you? I think this is like.
Say what? Oh, for that.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're just watching.
We're wandering through the bunker. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Go. Now.
the leading question.
A motif I recognized was like acting out scenes from your daily life, whether that be how you wake up, how you use the bathroom, how you go to bed, how you do work, how you like work out. I recognized that from like working with you previously in 260, I think. And the way that your embodied storytelling is very specific.
What resonated with me from watching it back here was at one moment Jen had sat down to watch a dancer and made me think about co-performance in between the movers and those who are doing the movement.
Wait, what?
And
Co-performance.
and how the viewer's energy, especially in the space that you want it to be, alters the movement, like especially if somebody doesn't know. I'm sure you're gonna have costumes and stuff, but like the lines are blurred at that point for me about who is performing right now. And if you want that to be something in your piece, I think it could be really cool. But yeah, I noticed that, and I also noticed when people's like heads got turned to a specific movement, and versus when like somebody was dancing and then I was watching.
When who says this?
Sorry?
When who
like
says
the viewer's head turned to like a specific person moving as opposed to another.
I don't know, I'm just like watching out from the outside perspective. I thought that it was interesting how the audience kind of acted as like they kind of the way that the audience was moving kind of made space for the dancers to dance in, so it kind of seemed like they were kind of making the room in the house that you guys were dancing in.
I also appreciated that your end was a mutual place of rest.
I also felt like a lot of the movements were very like familiar. Like I noticed we like skincare kind of some kind of washing the face, and I think also like there are certain things that felt very noticeable just as like people can do within the human experience, but also things that and maybe me noticing like more things that I could recognize for you because I know you versus others. And so it felt kind of like getting to know everyone, but also noticing that there was still some things that I don't know about.
There was a part where you guys mutually came to a spot. It kind of felt like returning to home, like a default. And there was like a swaying. And I'm curious of like leaning into that, like what that can do.
Yeah, I think for me too, I love a pedestrian moment, and I think you have to be careful of slipping into pantomime. So how do you make the action be and continue to be real? And then the moments that actually were outside of that action that felt like what we might think of more when dance occurs or when we think dance occurs. I felt the resonance of the separation between the two of them, and I was craving more separation between them, potentially.
I don't know if this relates to like recognizing things, but like one of the things that I appreciated while I was watching it was just like I don't know how to say this. I mean this in like a purely positive way, but like feeling like I was being like manipulated by the energy of the dancers, like my gaze was being manipulated, my movement was like I remember there was like one time when I think you had like your
was the idea for this to have sound, or would it be?
There will be sound, but I don't know what it is yet.
No, that's fine. My other point of reference is that I remember being drawn to sound and that bothering me to sound. And I think that was also a big part of where my attention was.
Can I ask Bridget a final? Bridget, would you say the manipulation you felt could also be like the focus was directed somewhere? Like you were kind of subliminally told where to look?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I felt like I didn't feel like bad in any way, but it felt like there was like something else that was outside of me guiding my gaze and my attention.
Yeah, it was sort of like you had 3 channels on a television at all times, and you could like flip between them at will, and then sometimes they merged.
I don't have any other questions, but if there's any other comments.
I like that little baseball fight scene that was going on over there. And like another day, like their finger up, like wagged them, and they kind of like immediately like passed out. It was almost like, it reminded me that you all were dancing at the same time. Like, although you trained my eyes to look at certain things, like my peripheral vision then was like kicked on again. And I realized there's another dancer behind me doing something, but I'm looking at this story. Like separate my senses.
I thought, who, that movement I did was like, oh, they're playing Wii tennis. Were you playing Wii tennis? Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So happy to hear that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I see Wii tennis happening. But it just makes me want to say, like, that, you know, as you develop these, to think about the things that resonate like that, so that things aren't, you know, they could be vague enough but specific enough that people have a way in to recognize it as something that they call home as well, or could potentially.
That's the plan.
Well, people keep doing it. Wii tennis has to stay.
Got it, I wrote it down. That's it.
And I feel like after workout was something that I resonated with the most. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's home. Yeah.
Thank you.
Where do you want us, Leah?
Leah and Company.
Oh, were you sitting here?
Just wandering.
Just all right, what you want to tell us and what questions you have. Yeah, set up.
Not yet.
I think I'll tell.
Am I always, I'm not the only one thinking it.
Asana, a work
Hello, Asana.
What's up?
I actually prefer Monday.com and ClickFunnels, so. Sorry, we're still going through that. Hey, senior research. Okay. Ron, do you want to come up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want me to do? I didn't
Follow.
record it.
Follow. We're building a movement repertoire. Movement, right now we're focusing on movement that's very natural to my body. And following from here on out, we're going to be pulling from everyone. Everyone will have a chance to teach, and it will become more of a collaborative environment. And for what we've learned so far, various people were here, so various people have, and various people also just generally have different understandings and connections to the movements, whether we learned them last year, learned them on Tuesday, whatever. So, yeah, for all of y'all, whether you know it, don't know it, have seen it, watched it, whatever, catch what you can catch. But can we get close? And it's less
To each other or to that?
to each other, and also to someone. And it can be less kind of, follow me as you need to follow me. Feel free to take time and space to like, for example, if we're really close and you need to be like, you know, look at, to see me, then that's fine. But yeah.
Just give me weed and hook leaf, hot rubber. Bucket full of snow, fat dollar. Big ball game can't stop salad. Try rocky vibes, stroke back in on your fat mother. Rifle the fire, di jack hammer. Built for the 17, built team, Glock hammer. We no follow back a girl from nah nice, but then you know about this.
It's gonna restart, I guess.
Can't stand it. Oh. Just give me weed and hook leaf, hot rubber. Bucket full of snow, fat dollar. Big ball game can't stop salad. Try rocky vibes, stroke back in on your fat mother. Rifle the fire, di jack hammer. Built for the 17, built team, Glock hammer. We no follow back a girl from nah nice, but then you know about this. Don't pop up, shoes up in dance. Me just go fi booze, pussy cock. Air Force white in a shoes, pussy cock. That in a something shot, make me something start. Move up the shots, this a your fucking friend enough. You don't need that. Police want to get up, 230 shots. Swing money on this money, got the soup off the graph. Alright, waitress, bodies over here, bodies over here. Bad man, they are here, bodies over here. Campari, you know I got it over here. Every crossing, bodies everywhere. Bodies over here, bodies over here. Can't stay there, bodies over here. Can't time them, bodies over here. Inna the place, and the bodies over here. The back of that at the center, me tell inna the place, man, run up inna them belly, girl a play a card. Me have a pocket the bench, and the cheap of gun, engine for the Benz, every and I send kitty. Me find that plug-in, me be a second city. Me tell Bill I say hi, little friend pretty. I could have penny or cent, for me money I be spent, you see. Waitress and bodies over here, bodies over here. Bad man, they are here, bodies over here. Campari, you know I got it over here. Tell Rick Ross and bodies over here. Every girl bump off the roll for you. Can't stay there, bodies over here. Can't time them, bodies over here. Inna the place, and the bodies over here. Gold pop up, shoes up in dance. We just go the booze, what's the car? Air Force white in a shoes, what's the car? That in a something shot, let me something start. Move up the shots, this a your fucking friend enough. You don't get up, police want to get up. 230 shots, swing money for this, for the car, the soup off your bra. Alright, waitress and bodies over here, bodies over here. Bodies over here. Every girl bump off the roll for your glove off the goal. Fuck pussy girl, make me jump on the tool. Sit down on the pole, peer down for your soul. What a pussy pretty girl is small like a ball. Me a beg a little like a fella. Come on. Pull down on the bow on the ground. Grip everybody head and a fire. Quintilles make it jump on the ride. Use your muscle and fuck with the wine. Quintilles make it jump on the ride.
have a very similar question to Ruth in terms of what resonated with you.
Wait, ask it again?
What resonated?
What resonated?
How old are y'all? Are y'all really out of this? It's like 2 minutes.
I guess we were nervous and not breathing.
Yeah, y'all might want to breathe.
I think what resonated for me, like one of the things that resonated is it felt strong. Like strength appeared in this. Like I noticed this tight verticality, right? And so within that container, it felt like in and around it was a power or a strength.
What resonated with me was the use of repetition. A lot of the movement quite fast, or the tempo pretty high. And so the repetition allowed me to really notice the nuance and detail, and also to look at, like I could watch this dancer do it, this dancer do it, this dancer do it, this dancer do it, in a way that was really interesting, that if it had just happened once, I probably just would have watched you.
I was really thinking about what you said at the beginning about individuality and like pulling movement from everyone's bodies, and I really felt that even before you started dancing, in the like how each person grooved or like set their bodies up, like fixed their hairs, like touched their clothes like before it started, and I think that there's like a lot.
What is, okay, so, like, movement vocabulary, what are you thinking maybe to do when you have, like, the entire vocab?
Yeah, the goal, I think what I'm trying to do largely is kind of choreographing of chaos, and the fact that it's not it's not ever going to be a finished product because it's not going to have like a 5, 6, 7, 8, but it's finding a way to make movement vocabulary that allows everyone to pull from it and have an access point into dance hall, and then also as we move forward to be able to make their own in a style of dance hall that they can interpret and embody and then teach it, so that everyone, when we end up doing it, everyone will have a chance to be me and have a chance to like lead or say this is what we're gonna do at this time.
But each person would be like assigned a style dance hall kind of?
No, they would
be
make
like their own, how they.
The way you described it to us from the inside, as I recall, was that there is no 5, 6, 7, 8, but there are call signs, right? Like this one guy does something with his hand, and everyone who catches it catches the next jump on the beat drop. And like not everyone knows exactly what they're doing, certainly not as well as the guy who just decided to do the next sequence, but that's like part of the point and like part of the fun of it. Is the opportunity for everyone to be the caller, for everyone to be the responder.
Yeah, I think, since Bree asked questions, now we're riffing. I think that this, like, someone who doesn't know dance hall, so again, like, I think this is for all three of you, is like, I'm really interested right now in what is important to make legible and what is not important. important to you to make legible? And that's between you and your dancers? Like, what are the values or the essence or the principles that you're passing on that makes dance hall? And then when you invite an audience to come in, how are you, like, how much does legibility matter to you? And I want you to consider how you're going to move that legibility across the gap of space that's between you and I, right? And are you going to be a purist? Or are you going to make dance hall meet you in this moment? I think those are interesting.
You as meet the audience or?
As the choreographer, are you bringing your own artistic endeavor to this project, or are you trying to showcase dance hall as what, you know? Yeah, exactly. Or are you trying to make with it? And I think discerning those things are important.
Hopefully y'all can get away from me.
I just, like, I know we're one rehearsal in, but I also, like, saw myself really noticing, like, who didn't feel comfortable, and maybe because it's, like, choreography and you're still learning it. But I think there's also, like, even if you don't know the choreography, but, like, get the feeling that can look different than somebody that's learning it. And maybe look out for that. Now I'm advising.
Well, I think what also Bree is saying is touching on is this idea that you and I can talk about later in office. This idea of where's the balance between the accuracy and the vibe? Right, and like what Misha's saying is.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I told her.
Didn't you catch
That's what
that?
I said. I said what I said.
Wait, hold on.
In so as they get to interpret, right? Because if their interpretation of dance hall is valid and legible, then the vibe is more important than the accuracy. And I don't know if they fully believe that. That's the difference. I think that's what you're talking about being comfortable. Because if I'm one of them and I really believe like the step is a step, girl, but I got something for it, you know, that's a different way that I'm gonna react or respond.
I hope y'all are taking notes too.
You heard what I
I
said?
don't see any computers.
Oh my God, I'm not doing that.
Question in the
I
back.
would also like to be involved in that thought or like the idea of choreographed chaos, because something that I noticed when I got up was the twins, like they immediately started interacting with each other with movements from the dance, not necessarily to the music. And so how would you, it's like, how do you teach a feeling? And how do you make that feeling genuine while also being genuine to what you want to show? Is that, with what you want to show being
You're really asking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know if you were just throwing it out there as a thought. Okay, you know, thinking we're in liberal arts students. Sorry, I've been in meetings all day, y'all. I'm sorry. Woo! Pull it together. Okay. I think what you're getting at, Ashley, is if there's a palette, right? Like if there are movements that we all know, moving through that palette in all of these ways that somehow don't make sense, get you back to the essence of what these movements can actually say. Does that make sense?
I'm a bit confused on what you mean by.
So like there could be a series of dance hall movements. There could be a caller. There could be a DJ who's playing exactly what you need to do, right? But if that goes out of order, I can change the order, which in my body might feel jarring, it might feel unnatural, it might feel like not the right sequence, but out of sequence gets into the vibe. See what I mean? Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the answer. Like that's what organized chaos. That's what chaos. That's what community as a chaotic function that evolves over time, in and out of order, looks like.
And just to bounce one last thing is, you know, it's interesting to hear this idea of organized chaos because what I see is like really clean, clear lines and people staying in a very, very big formation that actually the formation like hasn't changed, right? It didn't change. So I'm like, baby, where's the chaos? Like if you're gonna control the chaos, you gotta have the chaos to control.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like as
Do it.
dancers we felt the chaos.
What does it feel like?
Y'all just can't see her face because there's no mirror.
We can't see Leah's face. Yeah, we can't see what she's doing from the front. Like, we all have different angles of what's happening. Some of us were not at the rehearsal. Some of us couldn't participate as fully as others. Whatever. Like, some of us aren't even here, question mark. I don't know. That all changes, like, our confidence or our ability to, like, put our own flair on these movements. Like, we can't exactly put our own flair on it or, like, contribute to the vibe as ourselves until we fully understand the accuracy.
But see, I think that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
In order to find the thing that this piece is gonna do,
Yeah.
you can't wait for that.
That's right.
Right, like I'm chaotic right now. I've been in music. Y'all can feel my chaos coming. I can't even hold it together. Right, I'm still here being me. Right, so you got to do that in the piece. Yeah.
I think the thing is too that it's less about accuracy and more about ownership. It's like what they're saying. It's like the vibe, the feeling, being taking ownership of the movement and saying, I'm gonna bring. I don't know what you're doing exactly, but I'm gonna bring what I got to it, as opposed to, okay, she's doing Like if I don't catch one, what can I add and how can I change it so that I still got the beat, but who gives a shit what she's doing?
But you have to just get beyond yourself, you know, and what's happening in your life, and what happened before you stepped onto the dance floor, and what's going to happen after. Because when you're out there, it's just you are what you are, and you don't have to apologize for anything. Like, oh, I didn't learn that. Okay, well, stop apologizing. Just that. Then you really step into the chaos instead of worrying about the chaos, because then we just see you worrying.
And I also want y'all to hear this as like, that was fine.
Oh yeah,
These
exactly.
notes are not for y'all.
Yeah, they're not exactly.
These for her. Like when she be in my office, like this gonna be for her. She gonna have to eat this. Like this her fault. That's the whole point of a senior thesis, right? Like her job is to communicate so clearly with you that we don't see anything but her imagination. At the end of the day, this is not notes for y'all. I mean, y'all are gonna work on it. 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what I'm saying? But this is conceptual. These are personal. Your inner chaos, you know, you work on that later.
Seems as someone who knows nothing about dance hall, so I could be way off.
Say it, Bridget.
But I wonder if you're trying to like capture a vibe and get people out of like choreography, if it might be worth doing like a couple of like improvisational scores based on this stuff, so people can really get out of it. Like there really is no right way, and people can start to like feel their way into it, and then maybe return to. Sorry, I have not.
Dance hall party.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Next up, our last piece is going to be Evelyn and Michael. This is for ACDA, and they're going to tell us whatever information they want us to know and whatever possible questions or emphasis they want for feedback.
Yeah, you go. Go.
All you.
Have to be somewhere.
from DCM, and Odette and I had the idea of how can we incorporate our culture within this duet. Now it's become, yes, that in an essence, but now just trying to have fun within this duet. Because it's like, I've been crafting it, and I'm like, Michael's really fun to dance with, and yeah, like, so now it's just more of a, yeah. There's gonna be, okay, the first part is more of an improv score. We picked like a beat or like an element of the music to really lean into, and there's moments of like contact. It's still being explored, so it's not fully developed yet. So I guess in that way, how can we better that? How can we expand that and make it better? And the second part is more of a choreographed section. This is where I draw from DCM, the duet, and then also a part that we added together. And yeah.
Fix your face, Michael. Fix your face.
Right? You're supposed to have fun. that stood out to you? Second question, what area could be developed?
I can so totally tell that both of you are having fun in the way your body moves. Would be awesome to see you look at each other and express it with your face.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I had questions in the beginning about your relationship to each other and the choice to kind of not see each other. And I'm curious what would happen if you do, and maybe those, either in one or the other, but really playing with that as a choice. And I want more space. I mean, like really, like when you guys were really getting into the big movements, the more syncopated movements, that like at your biggest energy, I think that feels like you're pushing it. And I want you to realize that that's actually your base and you can push even more, right? And you can do that by really feeling, taking up the whole stage. Like, I was curious what happens when this moves away from this corner into like get like big, like biggie, big. That's technical.
Yeah. So academic.
Anything else?
What you making here?
What are we making here? Like
Other than
genre-
a feeling.
like in genre or just like in general?
What am I watching?
You're watching a fusion of the styles in my mind, but also Michael's style. You're watching me take something that I thought was boring more interesting.
What makes
What were you taking? What are you taking from?
I'm taking from, like, what do you mean, like material
Like
or
you
like?
said, I'm taking from what I thought was boring. We don't know what's boring. We don't know. We just know the styles, but we don't know the context that this is coming from. We know it's a duet, but we don't know what you did with Odette necessarily, like at all.
Boring as in like I did it. It was like.
But like, what was it?
What was it?
Yeah.
Repeat your question one more time to me. Like,
What's boring?
what's boring? What's boring?
Yeah,
is-
what's boring that you're pulling from? What is the thing that you're pushing against? What is that nugget of, I am me and I have to depart from this place? What is that place? What is it?
The part that I'm taking. Oh.
How Evelyn explained it to me
Okay.
is Evelyn has this idea of fusing the Afro-Latino
Okay, that's not what we're asking though.
Yeah,
No.
but like the way this dance was first choreographed was very like formulated, very watered down, very like sensual, to a point where you lost the feeling of what you were supposed to feel. So this, me coming in, is supposed to be that amplifying of her. So something like that whole beginning could be a lot of Evelyn's like more slicker background of like more technical, very intense. But then by the time I'm joining in for that part, it's supposed to amplify this energy that was there before that wasn't shown before.
Okay, so our question is, if that succeeds, what is the piece about?
What's the story?
The story.
Not the
What's-
genre, not the type of dance.
Okay,
Look at
okay,
this
okay.
major over here. Major against major.
The story for me is an arc of, let's see, it's an arc of my time from, it's really just an arc, like it's, how can I map it out?
An arc of.
An arc of what?
An arc.
Okay, listen, here's what we really want to get to. I can tell you a story about my life, and every story has an arc.
Yes.
What story is this? What chapter in the book are we at? What's the name of the book? Give us some more context.
It's me discovering me, like it's
Okay.
it's me like it's me taking my culture and not watering it down and putting too much of what I think is right and leaning into like the corny moments of like what people might seem as corny or cliche within this kind of music. expanding it. And within the people coming in and out, there's different elements of it. Like before, it was more of like a modern, like very little, because there was like this moment.
Okay.
A lot of it was more modern in terms of like this, like the turn, or
Like your
the,
life was more modern and there was a lot of turns.
Twists
Like,
and turns.
like this is like you're saying this is my life modern and twists and turns. But we're asking like what in your life that's not dance maybe.
That's not dance.
No, it is about dance.
And so this story is about your arc as a dancer.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Tell me.
Yes and no in terms of like, how do I put it? Yes in terms of dancing, like yes, I'm leaning to one side all the time, and this is me arching to this and incorporating that, so that's a more dominant space instead of the modern.
So.
The reason that I'm pushing so hard on this is because I went to Utah. We went to the other side of the country where they don't even know where Vermont is. And they presented a dance that was a bunch of people on stage, and they're like, this is why I love dance. An audio track of their voices saying, this is why I love dance, and they pantomime, like, I love dance. They did that on stage. And there's dance like that, and then there's dance where it's like ballet, or modern, or jazz, because those are the three styles that they learn on that part of the country. And it's in Utah. That's right.
Let's not say that part because it's not making a point.
I mean, Utah, Colorado, like.
Utah.
In Salt Lake City.
Right. Very conservatory
Lake
city.
City,
Okay.
that's
And I talked about it with Anna, who's long since graduated, and we felt that they were very like, we didn't know where to like place these in a world, in a story. Like they felt like good dances, like technically whatever, but they were like bodies without a head. So I'm asking, like, you have like great technique, y'all move good, but like, what is the motivation? Where is it coming from?
Because that's going to actually, the reason, and I just want to say this for everybody, like, this is not a critique session. You're going to go to ACGA and there's going to be a critique session.
Yes.
That's not it. But the information that I would give you about what I think you should go further into, it might tear you away from like what you're really trying to say. So I can have a lot of choreographic notes,
Yes.
but what are we building? I just need more information about what it is you want to build.
That I think could synthesize information faster. As this was explained to me like 3 hours ago, the history of this dance is about making fun once more what has become not fun.
Is that true?
Yes. They don't want to just go to ACDA. They want to go to ACDA and have fun.
That's fine. Nobody's saying don't have fun, baby. But when I'm watching this, I'm not having fun.
Okay.
I don't see fun. I see a cultural exploration that's cut and spliced with someone who enters when the music says you're my reflection, but it's really a shadow. I'm seeing choreographic devices that aren't leading to the thing you're trying to build. Which is fine. That's why we're here. Right? I've been making dances longer than y'all been born. I'm just trying to say, I want you to get out of this what you really want.
And the answer to that, like the whole like overall idea is, I honestly am working with the news that I got and working with what I have. So there's not like I can't give you the overall idea. I can give you where I'm coming from, but right now because it's still being developed, we're not sure. Because Michael and I have had like what, 2 1-hour sessions.
Okay.
So it's like I can't give you an overall theme. Right now, what the process was like, okay, the music is good. Like, taking in this material, do you like how this looks? Okay, like we're just still discovering the feeling. The main part was it to have fun, but right now we're still discovering what our relationship is to each other. Like there are some moments where I am working on the words of like, you are my reflection. And in those rehearsals, we're going more into that, so I don't know exactly. I'm trying to rework it so it's more of a Michael and I instead of a me. Because I want to, I want to make sure he can answer these questions because he can.
again, this is, let me also be clear with y'all. This is a choreographic process. It might not finish till way beyond ACDA. This clock is not on creative time. You understand?
Yes.
So these conversations, I just want you to think about this in terms of your entire college journey. The conversations sometimes have to take longer than the work so that the work can be developed with ease. Right? I'm not trying to rush you to a solution.
Yeah.
I'm trying to ask you questions so the next time you see this person in the studio, you're like, you know what? You coming in front of me is not right. It's not congruent. It's not in alignment with what we want to actually do in this relationship. Actually, we're not even in a relationship. Actually, these two solos that we're doing in the very beginning may need to be spread out even more. There's this moment where you came out and I thought you was going to, give me a Kendrick squabble up moment, right? But so all the places where there could be a departure into development have to come back to the concept we're really portraying.
Got it.
Right?
Yes.
That's all we're saying. Is that moments of inspiration is not craft. Right? And as someone who works behind all this,
Yes.
you know exactly what I mean. Like you can't just throw lights anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. You just got it. You talk to you later.
Okay.
Yeah, when's your next rehearsal?
Our next rehearsal is next week on Tuesday.
Oh, it's Thursday. Okay, Tuesday. Tuesday what time?
At 2.
We'll be there.
Invite us. We're ready to help.
Nice work, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone.
30
Nice
minutes.
work.
Got a whole sitcom tonight? Get
Yep.
into it.
It wasn't all you.
It was a little bit late. You guys started
No, we didn't.
Imagine.
Got a whole sitcom. What I missed?
Loved it.
I just made some stuff.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff apparently.
I was trying to make a lot. I like it.
Great, loved it.
Thank you.
What are you gonna keep?
Bye, Crystal.
Bye.
Evelyn.
I think I'll keep
Thank you. Thank you. I was like, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. Don't mess up. Good. Come on, right?
I'm a social. Where are your questions? I don't need them. I don't need